If you've spent any time in the personal development space, chances are you've probably heard the word mindset about a dozen million times. In fact, the word can be so overused and the concept can be so over talked about that anytime we hear anybody talking about mindset, we automatically just tune off because we assume that it's just the same thing that we've heard before. Mindset, to me, if I can reduce it to a single definition, is just the way that we approach our lives or the lens through which we view our lives and the world as a whole. Now, we obviously know that mindset is important. I mean, the way that we view the world literally defines our reality. But how do we know if we're viewing the world through the right lens or the wrong lens? This book called Mindset by Carol Dweck is probably the best book that I have ever read on the subject of mindset, and not only mindset in general, but she actually delves deep and really simplifies what a good mindset looks like and what a bad mindset looks like. She pretty much talks about two main mindsets: the growth mindset, which is the good mindset, and the fixed mindset, which is the bad mindset. Let's start with the fixed mindset first. The fixed mindset basically dictates that we believe that our traits and other people's traits are carved in stone and that they can't be changed. So for example, if we have a fixed mindset and we get a C on a math test, we just automatically conclude that we are just not good at math. Whereas somebody with a growth mindset would conclude there is room for me to improve and I may someday be good at math. There's a lot of problems with the fixed mindset, as she explains in this book, but I'm just going to go through a few right now. Number one, a fixed mindset distorts your reality. When you believe that your qualities and your traits are carved in stone and that there's nothing you can really do to change them, or there's really not much that you can do to change them, then you end up magnifying your good results and you end up explaining away or even denying your bad results. And so what you end up having is a fragmented sense of reality where the things that reflect well on you, you magnify more than they should be magnified, and the things that reflect poorly on you, you reduce or even deny altogether. And what that ends up creating is a completely distorted sense of reality. By contrast, a growth mindset doesn't result in that scenario, because a growth mindset looks at success as a victory, hooray, and at failure as something that can be improved. And so because you know that your traits can be changed and you don't look at it so rigidly or so fixed, you can actually look at reality in an objective manner instead of trying to magnify the good things and trying to explain away the bad things. You can just look at everything from a level head. Number two, a fixed mindset makes your self-confidence fragile and erratic. When you believe that your qualities are carved in stone and they can be changed, every time that you succeed, it's the best thing in the world and you get way too excited, and every time that you fail, you get way too down on yourself and it's a massive blow to your self-confidence and your self-esteem. And so you end up the entire time in a roller coaster where you win and you go yay, and then you lose and you go damn, and then you win, and it's just erratic and it's a very fragile sense of self and a very fragile self-confidence. By contrast, when you have a growth mindset, you don't look at it that way at all. When you have a growth mindset, when you win, you celebrate the wins, knowing that your effort and your training and your purposeful engagement helped lead you to those results, and that it wasn't just your fixed traits. And when you lose, you don't take it to heart so much because you know that you can improve and that you'll do better next time. Number three, a fixed mindset transforms your outcomes into your identity. When you believe that your traits are fixed and carved in stone and can't be changed, anytime that you achieve a result, whether it's good or bad, you attach to that result. You become attached to that result. You can't let it go because you believe that that is a reflection of your fixed traits. And if your traits are fixed, then that is just who you are and you can't do anything about it. And you become overly attached to everything, the good and the bad. By contrast, a growth mindset does not get attached to outcomes in that way. It does not identify with the outcomes. When you have a growth mindset, you don't look at your results and determine that this is who I am. When you have a growth outcome, you look at your results and you say, this is who I am right now, and I am becoming X, or I am becoming Y. I choose to become Z. When you have a growth mindset, you choose what your identity is. When you have a fixed mindset, you are at the mercy of what happens. Number four, a fixed mindset creates an overwhelming urgency to succeed. Because if you believe that your traits are carved in stone and they can't be changed, then you look at effort as something negative. right? Because if you have to work really hard to achieve a certain outcome, the fixed mindset interprets that as you're just not good at that thing that you're trying to do. And so you create this overwhelming urgency to succeed as fast as possible to prove to yourself that you are indeed that person that you want to be. Because again, you identify with the results. And so if the results are taking a little bit of time, then your identity starts to become that you were just not really good at that thing. Whereas the growth mindset looks at effort in a positive way. It looks at effort as, hey, I'm developing these traits. I'm developing these skills. One day I will be X. One day I will be Y. That is how the growth mindset looks at it. The fixed mindset is just trying to rush because it looks at effort in a bad light. And finally, number 5, a fixed mindset limits your potential. If you believe that your qualities are carved in stone, then you simply won't try new things. You won't try things that you are bad at. You will only try the things that you are good at right away. And when you only try the things that you are good at right away, it limits your entire existence into the things that you are just naturally talented at right away. And you don't even try the things that you're maybe not good at right away, but could become skilled at eventually down the line if you were to try. By contrast, the growth mindset sees it in the completely opposite way. It tries everything. It tries things you're good at right away. You try things that you're not good at right away because you believe that you can become good at those things eventually. You can develop the skills to become good at the things that you are not naturally good at right away. And because of that, you have so many opportunities. You have so much more adventure. You have so much more to live for because you have so many more opportunities, so many more options, and so much more at your disposal to live life to the fullest. It's important to remember that our mindsets literally create our reality because our mindsets are the lens through which we view the world, and the lens through which we view the world determine what world we are looking at. And what world we are looking at determines what world we are living in, and what world we are living in determines the direction that we go into. So if we choose the growth mindset, we end up in one direction, and if we choose the fixed mindset, we end up in another direction. And those two results, those two directions, they lead you down to very different paths. The cool thing about this is that you and I both get to choose which mindset we live with. I'm sure you can remember a point in your life where you were living with the growth mindset and another point in your life where you were living with the fixed mindset. Now, it is true that you can have a mix of both mindsets. Some days you wake up with a pesky fixed mindset, and some days you wake up with a go-getter growth mindset. Or maybe, you have a fixed mindset in certain areas of your life and a growth mindset in other areas of your life. Maybe you have a very much a growth mindset when it comes to your business, and maybe you have more of a fixed mindset when it comes to your relationships. And, anytime that you have a disagreement in a relationship, you see it as a sign that the relationship is unhealthy, whereas a person with a growth mindset would see it as an opportunity for the relationship to grow. And maybe you're not that way in business. Maybe in business you see adversity as a way to tackle that adversity, as a sign to tackle that adversity, and as a chance to grow. And so we can have different mindsets in different areas of our life. We can also just have different mindsets depending on our mood on the specific day. The important thing is that we make a conscious effort every day to cultivate the growth mindset and starve the fixed mindset. And I have 4 ways that we can do that. Number 1 is just to learn about the mindsets, which is what we've been doing right now. And then that leads me to number 2, which is to stop, identify, and analyze whenever you act, whenever you speak, whenever you don't act, whenever you don't speak, which mindset you are operating from. And so if something strong happens, if something bad happens, if something good happens, and you have a reaction, you have a strong reaction, take a moment, pause, try to identify if you're responding from a growth mindset or if you're reacting from a fixed mindset. And that also leads me into number 3, which is to practice self-compassion. And so if you stop, identify, and analyze, and you realize that you were operating from the fixed mindset, don't beat yourself up. There's no reason to beat yourself up. You're never gonna operate from the growth mindset 100% of the time. It's just not gonna happen. We're all humans. We all fall. We all trip, and then we get up and we keep going, and that's the important part. And it's way easier to keep going if you're not constantly beating yourself down to the ground. And finally, my favorite way to develop a good mindset is to commit to Kaizen. Kaizen is a Japanese philosophy that has its roots in the business world. And while it started in the business world, it has since been applied to pretty much any area of life or at least you can apply it to pretty much any area of life. And what the Kaizen philosophy dictates is that you just get a little bit better every single day. You don't try to focus on building a skyscraper all at once. You just try to focus on day-to-day actions. What can I do today to get a little bit better than I was yesterday? And then tomorrow you do the same thing, and then the day after, and then the day after, and then the day after, and then those improvements compound over time to lead to exponential results. This is a much better approach than trying to build a skyscraper all at once, because what happens sometimes when we set really big goals for ourselves, we try to do the whole thing all at once right away. And then when that inevitably doesn't happen, because good things take time, then we end up beating ourselves down. And so a way better approach to achieving our goals is to take it day by day. Look at today and say, what can I do today? What are the actions that I can do today to move the needle forward? And then do that day after day after day after day. And then over time, over years, months, years, decades, you'll look back and you'll realize how far you have come. And you'll be a lot less overwhelmed in your day-to-day life because you are just focusing on the here and now. That Kaizen mentality is how you override a fixed mindset with a growth mindset. Take it day by day by day by day, and every day you try to cultivate the growth mindset, and every day you try to starve the fixed mindset. And some days will be better than others. It'll be like this. It'll go up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, but it'll go up and down with a tendency to go up, and then eventually you'll be all the way over here. But it won't be linear. It'll be ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. And what'll happen is, after every single day of trying consciously to cultivate the growth mindset and trying consciously to starve the fixed mindset, eventually the growth mindset will override and become stronger and stronger and stronger, and the fixed mindset will become weaker and weaker and weaker, and the growth mindset will eventually sort of override the fixed mindset. If you like that video and you want to see more of this type of content, make sure to click the link below to subscribe to my email newsletter, where I send you content like this via email every single Monday to start your week off. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video.